It is the Kind of Nerdy Girls at PopCon Louisville. Oh my goodness, we are surrounded by all of the happiness that PopCon brings. And I am KJ, surrounded by my ladies. I've got Gamer Katie.
Hello. How's it going?
So good. You are fresh off the Grand Theft Auto panel.
It was fun. I want to talk about it if we have time.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And then we've got assistant producer Michelle here with us.
You with your big old title.
Yeah.
What is this, like your 12th title?
You have like a laundry list of them. It's like assistant producer, news director, CEO,
Community
CFO,
crew.
Yeah.
chief emotional support officer.
Pretty much. That's actually probably the most accurate of all of Michelle's titles. I don't know. The amount of times this weekend that Michelle has gone over my schedule with me again. And I'm like, I have that at 1, right? And she's like, no, that's at 3. And then I'm like, I'm doing this thing at 2, right? And she's like, no, that's at 5.
Somebody's got to rein you in. Yeah. And it's so easy for you to get pulled 1,000 different ways when we're here.
I know.
That you need somebody to be like, hey, over here. Nope, this is a 3. Okay, good.
Yep,
Right.
yep. So that's what Michelle has been doing, and a stellar job. Thank you very much, Michelle.
She always does.
I hope that
Thank you.
the cheese curds last night
Yum.
sufficed
Those were
for
good.
payment.
Yum, yum. Culver's.
No,
Oh.
the bar at the Galt House had this Wisconsin girl approved cheese curds.
Oh, they were really good.
They were
Love a
they
good
were
cheese
super
curd.
good. I'm going to turn your mic up a little bit,
Am I
Michelle.
whispering?
No, Michelle is a
it
little
me? It's
quieter than
seductive
the
talk.
rest of us. Yeah,
It's like
there we go.
ASMR.
I don't have producer Patches to produce because he's over on the podcast stage.
Oh, he's doing his own podcast?
So-
Lame.
Hi, guys. If you have any questions, please let us know. I'm down here on the floor doing a podcast.
It is weird to do a live podcast at a convention because you're like, okay, one eye is over here and making sure
Yeah.
anybody at the booth's
Yeah.
good. And
Hey, listen, if we look like anyone wants to buy anything, we will stop this show and you will hear us sell. Because
if one of us
Pause.
just disappears, that's what it is.
I'm actually going to look and just make sure I'm really recording.
Are you
see
for
that?
sure?
I think
I
so.
see a big
right?
red dot.
There's a red dot. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Yep.
Okay.
So let's talk some kind of nerdy stuff. Katie, I wanted to ask you, Borderlands. Did you go see the movie?
I have not, and now I will not.
Because it did not
Oh.
do well at all.
What I have seen and what I have heard is that it was another disappointing video game to movie.
Oh
Like
man!
they, for whatever reason, and I don't get it, and I've tried to like psychoanalyze, armchair psychologist it.
Mhm.
I don't understand why video games aren't translating well to movies because they have beautiful, in essence, stories. But I think the problem is that we try to cram too much in.
Okay.
We try to hit all the side quests. We try to reference all the things that people are going to get. And a lot of the things that tend to catch for video games, like Claptrap or like, those kinds of things, are side things that are unimportant to the main story of the game.
Okay.
So, like, great example, it's been out for more than a decade, Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
What is
wow.
the one line from that game that everybody knows? You guys might not.
We
'cause
have
I
no
feel like
idea.
I'm speaking French to you. You seem
My
confused.
husband's played that game, but I don't know
If
that.
Tia was here, she could
I
answer
used
that.
to be an adventurer like you, but then I took an arrow in the knee.
Oh, okay.
And it is just some random throwaway dialogue filler line that guards say when your character walks by going somewhere. So should they ever try to make it a movie and they tried to shoehorn that in somewhere, it may not work.
Gotcha.
So I think Borderlands kind of fell victim to that. I know it's a fun franchise. I know it's wild, and it is a very aggressive and intense and fun game. And like the art style is very unique, and it's like
Yeah.
the cell shading and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't translate. I think it's a PG-13 movie,
oh,
and that is an M-rated game.
that's not going to work.
So that was my first red flag. That I was like,
There.
oh, we're toning it
Yeah.
down. Okay, so no.
That makes sense.
So like it makes me nervous for future things like Netflix or whoever's working on a BioShock movie.
Oh no.
And that is one of my most beloved franchises.
My
Yeah.
husband
Like,
loves
don't mess with that game.
Hi,
Yeah.
little
I
ladies.
would
You guys
tattoo
can
it
have a
on my
free
body.
decal if you want.
Any free stickers, take
Yeah,
them.
see those
Yeah.
stickers right there? That
Yeah.
pile right there. You can take whatever you want.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Send me some
And
of those.
because
and
we
the
got
big
we got somebody signing up for we've got a merch pack from Conquest Journals. It's worth over $100. It's the
got goodies.
Hogwarts tote bag and the student agenda journal and all this cool stuff, and we're giving everybody Sabrina prize packs when they sign up. They don't know they're getting a free prize when they sign up. So I like your Return of the Jedi shirt.
Return of the Jedi, classic. Wolverine.
Go ahead and make
Yeah.
a sale if you need to there, Michelle. If they-
Michelle's all business. We
All
love
right.
watching her work.
I know. Well, we're just trying to raise some money for indie neighborhood cats while we're here.
We love the cats.
I've appreciated that the people in Louisville haven't been like, oh, you're raising money for cats in Indianapolis. No, I'm not going to help. They've been like, oh, sure, I'll donate some money.
The cats benefit. That's what's
Right?
important.
Right. We all win. We all win when
Yep.
the cats win.
Mhm.
Well, in terms of like what happened with Borderlands, it did make me think like this is definitely, if there was any consideration of let's do a Red Dead Redemption movie, they've been like, nah, let's not.
That's a game I think would not work as a movie.
I think that's probably why
Because
it's been so
just
long, right?
so long, and
Yeah.
it takes so long to get to the point of the game
Mm-hmm.
because you're building all this tension, you're building this emotional drama. The game's been out for a decade, so I'm going to spoil it. Like, he's getting sicker the whole time, and you're supposed to catch these like subtle little hints
Yeah.
as you go and as you progress. You could fly through it, but you miss so much of the emotional depth of it that, like, okay, unless this movie's going to be like 4 Titanic lengths, you're not going to hit everything.
Right.
It would be maybe passable or pretty good as like a series.
So that's
like
what
a
I was
limited
going to ask,
series.
like what they did with Fallout. Maybe that's maybe that is
That seems to be the only
the success
video
formula.
game that translated well. And
Although-
I think it's because they chose the world, not the characters, if that
Okay.
makes sense. So like they used the world and all the world building that the game has built and all the like things that just exist in this sphere, but they did not pick any characters that people already knew.
Hello, welcome to our booth. We're the kind of nerdy girls. Take a decal if you'd like.
They did not pick any characters or locations or stories that we already knew. Because when you play these games, it is very choice driven. So like whatever my decisions were, that's how I feel this game went and how this game ended.
Yeah.
So it is very conflicting if, I said I want an independent New Vegas at the end of Fallout New Vegas, but they chose to go with Mr. House instead. Or like, gosh, Caesar's Legion, those kinds of things. So I think season 2 may gamble a little bit because they're going to Vegas, which is somewhere that exists in the world already, and we know what happened there. And it's 10 years later after the game. So whatever you did in the game has this effect on this show that you now cannot change. So I think it has to decide what happened, like which ending is the real true ending. Sometimes that upsets people.
Yes. There's that with the game.
But also, like, if you enjoyed the game, it is not time wasted, right?
Right. Exactly.
Enjoy it, consume it, go watch the show, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. You don't have to marry yourself to these things. And I struggle with that because I'm like, I don't want to do anything new. I want to just keep doing the same thing that I've been doing. So every 6 months, I play Fallout New Vegas. And I have played that game 100%, like 30 times. It's been out for 13 years.
Wow.
Right? I just souped up my computer to play Starfield. First thing I did was boot up New Vegas.
Aw.
I'm like, oh, yeah, new specs, and it's going to be all nice. I bet this 13-year-old game would look really good.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm the same way with TV. I mean, people are always like, you should watch this and you should watch this. And I'm like, I do the Captain America thing. I'll put it on the list. And then I rewatch Doctor Who.
Yeah. Well, they're like your comfort shows, right?
Yes,
and like,
yes.
Because these things are comfort games for people, I think it's really hard sometimes to let what I think should have happened go.
Sure.
Because I am driving the narrative in my game.
Yeah.
I can go whatever pace I want. I can set whatever story I want. I can kill whatever characters I don't like. I can take whatever loot I want. And within reason, you tend to have an effect on the world around you. Whereas movies and TV shows and limited series don't necessarily, like, it kind of decides for you what's going to happen, and you have to kind of be married into that idea.
Sure. If you're,
Yeah.
I've been watching these things without being a gamer, so wherever it takes me, I'm just happy.
You're
I'm
like,
enjoying
oh, okay,
myself.
we're doing that.
But
Yeah.
when I can imagine from the mindset of like, I used to be able to say, no, don't go there, go do this thing instead. And you're watching it and you're like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Like, that would be frustrating. And like you said, you can't fit these big long games into one movie and make
and
everybody
I think we
happy.
try to pick what's important, and sometimes we don't necessarily pick all the things that are important,
Yeah.
right? Like, it is so easy to be like, oh, we'll just do the main story. Except the main story is like 30 hours long. And it has a lot of stuff in it, you know?
So we are at PopCon Louisville right now, hanging out at the KJ today in Kind of Nerdy Girls booth. And any moment, no. In
Any
a little
moment
bit, any moment now, the
Any
Mike
moment
Coulter panel is going to start. So Mike Coulter is here, Luke Cage from the Marvel
Ooh.
world,
Yes.
and the star of Evil, which is like the big trending show on Netflix right now, but because it started on Paramount Plus, it actually just had its series finale. So
Right.
on Thursday, the last episode of Evil dropped, and now Mike is here, and I'm sure he's just got fans that are going to be like, what do we do? How do we get it back?
How do we cope?
Right.
So I talked with one of his co-stars. I haven't posted the interview yet, but it'll be going up. Asif Manvi he's Ben the Magnificent on the show. He is magnificent. I love him. And honestly, the whole interview was like, because it was the day before the finale was dropping, and I'm like, why are you calling to talk to me about how you're losing your job? Like, that seems weird. Like, hey, watch tomorrow for the last episode. I'm no longer employed. I hope you enjoy it. But he was optimistic that if the fans try hard enough, that there could be a way to keep this show going. And I think because it's interesting to just kind of look at this big picture and beyond Evil of how fans do have a way to revive and keep shows
They do.
going.
They did for Jericho.
Yeah.
Like,
I
send
mean-
in the studio all those peanuts from.
If I complain enough,
Yeah.
right.
they'll hear me.
I mean, we got more Lucifer. There was more
has
Arrested
worked,
Development. It has worked. So in some ways, it's like, well, let's try it. It's not always going to work, but like, let's try it because it might, you know. And if Netflix goes, okay, y'all seem to really be liking this on our streaming channel, why wouldn't we greenlight, 6 more episodes and see what happens?
But you also have to play to the algorithm. That, like,
Yes.
we know Netflix, number one, cares about how many people watch it in the first 24 hours it's dropped and how
Yeah.
many people watch in the first week.
Which is so frustrating because, like,
Because I'm old and I don't watch things right away.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I want people to stop talking about it and then I'll watch it.
I was watching. Did you watch Dead Boy Detectives, right?
Yes.
Yes. It was like
I
people
watched it
were-
like 2 weeks after it had aired.
me too, and it was
Yeah.
already like it didn't do well enough in the first 2 weeks, so
Well,
that's
like-
all you get.
And that, I think, is the curse of the binging and the streaming, right?
Right.
Is like people can consume things so fast, so they do, and then it's just wiped from your mind.
But
But
now
I w-
they're doing it in parts.
Yeah.
And I hate that
So,
too.
Like
So I'm like, I
5
don't want to be impatient.
episodes and 5 episodes.
Well, but
So-
I think the reason they're doing that, Michelle, is because of this phenomenon where they're like, they expect us to like log into Netflix and Netflix says, we recommend this. And you're like, oh, I'm going to watch it right now. No, I'm going to finish what I'm watching and I'll
Typically,
get
when
to
you
it.
log in, you're like, I'm going to watch X.
Yes.
And then you see things, you're like, oh, that's cool. Add to my list. I'll come back to it.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I think, by the time anybody caught on to that show, Dead Boy Detectives, which I highly recommend, it hasn't been canceled, but it also hasn't been renewed. So it's like sitting in a world where it's like, based on what Netflix usually does, we're not getting any
Limbo?
more of it.
Yeah.
But, maybe.
We retain the ownership rights. We're just not going to do anything with it.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I am not moderating Mike Coulter, but I am going to be in the room for that and probably be a fan and ask some questions. Are you too?
Yeah, I'll
Oh.
be in there.
All right. You got some
Ooh.
questions for Mike
I
Coulter,
don't know
Michelle?
if I have any questions.
All right. You got any,
Are you single?
Well, I'm married, so.
Listen. He's cute, though.
He is.
And he seems so charming.
He is. I've worked celeb photo ops with Mike before when they were doing, I think it was an Ace Comic Con when we had, it was like all of the Jessica Jones people were there, all the Daredevil people were there, and he is as charming in person as you would expect him to be. So it was a little hard to not do his panel, but I we've got our friend Abdul Hakim Shabazz, who's a big deal in Indianapolis, media personality, and he came to Louisville to help moderate after getting a taste of it in Indy.
Everything I can't moderate anymore.
So
Somebody had to pick up the slack.
right, I'm like, oh, Katie just had to go and this 7 months pregnant during PopCon
I'm
Louisville.
8 months pregnant,
8
girl.
months. Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
32 weeks today.
So,
Oh, my.
Also,
My
I learned
goodness.
pregnancies are 10 months, not 9.
yeah,
And
that,
the math is wild.
are you
40 weeks is 10 months. 4 weeks a month.
Are you still showing bigger than what, like, it was like 2 weeks ahead?
Yeah.
You're still doing that? So
yeah, it's not fun
it-
anymore.
at any moment you could have
it's
a baby.
getting scary.
Like we could be like talking right now and it could be like, oh, baby time.
I don't, you know?
Stop, baby time.
No, I don't think that. Like, this kid's pretty comfortable in there. So
Okay.
I haven't heard a peep, and I hope to keep it that way.
All right,
You
and
know.
you've got a kind of nerdy theme going for this baby, which we don't know. We're waiting to find out if it's a boy or a girl doing which I love. That's sort of the
We
old-fashioned
love
way.
the surprise of it.
I bet.
But you've got a space-themed nursery going.
We do. Yep. And based on the cost of daycare, this kid better come out a rocket scientist. Daycare is expensive.
Hello, guys. Welcome to our booth. We're recording our podcast right now. Oh, not at all.
You're fine.
Your cosplay is fantastic. You're welcome to any of those decals. If you have questions on anything else, let us know. And if you sign up for our newsletter, you have a chance to win all that cool Harry Potter stuff from Conquest Journal. So you don't have to be here to win. We'll ship it to you. We make it nice and easy. What's that? We're from Indianapolis. Yeah, yeah. So. Oh, she's talking about a haunted house. So I'm just going to sit here and let Katie and Michelle talk to her about her haunted house.
She's a chicken. She would never.
I would not.
never
No,
know.
I'm not.
would. She would
I don't know
never.
what your
She's
haunted house
scared.
is, but I'm already scared just to hearing about it. Michelle, will you put a microphone in front of her so I can hear what she's saying?
Come join us.
Come on the podcast.
Tell us about your haunted house.
Oh yeah, we're a hospital theme, so it's just like we're very interactive. We're very theatrical, so there's a lot of interactive scenes. So you can like press a button and put gas in the room and stuff like
Ooh,
that.
no, thank you.
Electric chairs.
Nope.
and
Oh, it's
stuff.
very Saw.
Yeah.
Ooh.
yeah.
Oh, no.
What's it called?
America Horrorplex.
America Horrible.
And this is in
2012
Louisville?
Yeah, in Louisville.
Okay, what's your website? How do we find you?
Yeah, the website
Yep.
is AmericaHorrorplex.com.
All
Nice.
right.
2012 Northwestern Parkway.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. There you go. You got a
When
plug
do you
on our
guys open
podcast.
for the season?
And like, if I take y'all's card, if y'all are interested, I'll send y'all the
Yeah,
September
send us all-
13th. Oh, it's coming up.
Ooh,
Coming
okay.
up.
September 13th. All right. Katie and Michelle keep talking to her, and this, all
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
thinking is this is going
Oh,
to
yeah.
take so much editing on my part if they keep talking to her. It's fine. It's fine. We want people to be happy here at PopCon. It's
Love
KJ
it.
today and the Kind of Nerdy
Love
Girls
it.
live at PopCon Louisville. Thank you.
You're a Waverly Hills girly.
I'm
Do
a
it.
what?
Waverly Hills.
Am I?
You did the whole TV show about ghosts.
Oh, okay. Yes,
you
I
know,
did.
yeah.
your other
Yes.
venture.
Oh, yes. Paranormal Crossroads.
Yeah,
Yes.
Waverly Hills, one of the most haunted places in the U.S.
Oh,
almost
that's
the world.
right. I've never done that. I don't like. I don't. You know, I
I
did
grew up
that.
down the street from there.
I did the nice paranormal show. I didn't do the scary stuff.
Listen, I argue
Yeah.
if I were a betting woman that if I was a little ghosty, I would be lonely.
I
It's
think
just
so
an empty
too.
building all day. So if people do show up and they're nice and they're polite to you, absolutely, right? I'd be all about that.
Michelle, what time is it? Are we good on time? I'm not paying attention to. What's that?
124.
124. Okay, we're good. So
You're good. You won't miss him. I swear. I won't let you.
Okay, thank you. I did want. Well, I wanted to hear a little bit about. This was the second time that you were with the GTA guys. First time with Stephen Ogg.
Yep.
So
You too.
thank you. So how was that? Any insight? Any new information that changed
Panels
your
are so
brain?
much fun. I feel like you learn so much about people as people
Yeah.
versus their characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did. It was Indie PopCon. We had Ned and Sean, so Franklin and Michael from GTA 5, And then this time was the first one where we completed the trio, and we had Steven/Trevor. And they just have this chemistry amongst them because, like, it takes 3 years to make one of these games. You really end up knowing these people.
Yeah.
And like, they're almost like, they act like brothers a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like they're making fun of each other. And, like, the entire panel, we're talking about the motion capture suits that you have to wear for these games and how they have all these little balls on them so that the camera can track their motion.
Mm-hmm.
And how they made them run for a full day so they could catch the animations. And how they, you had to, like, wear sandbags on your legs so it looked like you were walking appropriately. And they talk about, like, the science behind it. And I love the behind-the-scenes stuff where it's, how do these games get made? And is it harder to act as a motion capture actor?
Yeah.
Because you don't have a set. And it's all your imagination because it's just, like, foam with balls on it.
Yeah.
And you have a camera straight in your face because it needs to capture all the motion on your face as you
Yeah.
say things. So how hard is it to, like, get in somebody's face and have a conversation when it's two cameras right in front of each other? And, they're, like, you're rolling around on the ground, crawling and going through these missions, and you're laying on these hard plastic balls all over your body because you're wearing what amounts to a wetsuit.
Right.
And you talk about all, like, the fun and the challenges of those kinds of things. Like, he was like, there's this one guy on set, and he was the motion capture, like, animator.
Mm-hmm.
And if you saw him, you were going to have a bad day. Because he was the one that was going to make you run 3,000 times up and down the way till he got exactly what he wanted.
Right.
Or, like, you had to shoot the guns a particular way. Or, there's one where one of the characters is, like, stomping on someone's head, and you have to just do it for hours and
Oh, my
hours and
gosh.
hours.
My.
But then you get to the actual character component, like the heart of the acting of it, where they talk about, like, so this panel today, one of my favorite questions was, what were the emotionally difficult scenes to do? What were the ones that were, like, hard for you as an actor? Not just physically or, like, because you have a camera in your face and you have to kind of ignore that.
Is there a
But
lot of emotion in GTA? I just thought it
there
was like
can
bang,
be.
bang,
Like,
shoot 'em
there's
up.
a whole section where one of the trio betrays the others to the feds.
Oh. Oh.
And because he's trying to get out of the game, and he's whatever. Or you have, like, he's got this family back home and, like, his teenage kids, and he wanted to be done with this, and then they dragged him back in, and now he wants to be done with it again. Or you have characters that are just, like, balls to the wall crazy, and then they crack and they have a moment of clarity and, like, emotional maturity that, like, oh, this is it, we might actually die here.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things.
Okay.
And you have emotional depth just like you would with any character in any
Okay.
role. And then you talk about the fun things, right? Like, like, what are your favorite lines? And, what were your favorite things to film? And, like, what was the behind the scenes like for you? And these guys talk about how Steven, guy who plays Trevor, so you're wearing this wetsuit all the time. This gentleman would just fart all the time on the set, and you're in the zone and you don't want to do the take again, so you have to, like, ignore it all the time.
That's the fun stuff
And I don't
right
know
there.
that I could be an actor,
No.
right?
I
like, that would
absolutely
be
could
hard.
not. No.
I don't know that I have the chops for that.
No.
Right.
I could not do that. I mean, the amount of, like, you see, they'll release stuff and they show the actors in the green screens, and especially, like, you want, like, the Marvel stuff, and they're having their fight scenes, but they're not fighting anything, and it's
Like, pow, pow.
I would just be laughing the entire
Yeah.
time. There is no way I could not pretend like that. Like that.
But I think they do too, right? Like, we're all
yeah.
human. Hey, you've seen the behind the scenes for, like, the prequels to Star Wars, where they're making the lightsaber noises and they keep telling them not to
Yep.
because you're messing up the recording.
Yep. Hello, welcome to our booth. We're recording our show right now, but if you have any questions, let us know. You can sign up for our newsletter and win all that Harry Potter stuff as well if you want. If you don't, I'm not offended. All right.
I don't have the chops for it, man. I don't know that
Yeah.
I could take myself seriously
No.
to, like, I'm crawling on, like, the Red Dead guys tell it all the time. Like, the horses were not horses. It's like a foam drum.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like a set piece, and you have to pretend it's a horse, and you're like, yeah, giddy up, those
Yeah.
things. I don't know that I have it in me.
Yeah, well, that was in my interview with Benjamin Byron Davis about Borderlands. He talked about how working with Kate Blanchett, like, she was super excited to work with him because she had spent the 2 weeks prior talking to a trash can. Like, she was doing all of her scenes and she had to act
Yep.
with a trash can. And he's like, I don't know if she
Yep.
liked me, if she was just happy that she wasn't talking to a trash can anymore. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how can you do that? Like, I just
How do I look at a foam ball on a stick and be like, oh, yes, this is Groot, and I need to,
Right.
act seriously?
Yep. Oh, no.
You have to have an imagination, and
We
that's
have
hard.
a great deal of appreciation for the actors that entertain us.
It's hard work,
here.
man.
Yes. Anything else going on that we should be talking about in the nerdy world?
Oh, my gosh. I don't know. World of Warcraft dropped their new expansion, so I
Okay.
haven't seen my husband in 3 days.
Okay.
He
He was like, good, go to PopCon.
He did. Well, he pulled me aside 2 weeks ago. He's like, I have to talk to you about something. And I was like, uh-oh, what? And he's like, I'm going to be unavailable the weekend of the 23rd. And I was like, are you going somewhere? Like, he's like, my WoW expansion drops, and I'm going to be playing all day long. Like, all day long. And I was like, oh, well, I'll be at PopCon stuff. He's like, yes. I mean, oh, no. So it ended up working out that he's at home playing The War Within right now. But he, paid the extra money to get 3 days early access. I'm like, are you serious? You couldn't be patient. He's like, I don't want to be patient. I want to be better than my friends.
Aw.
Because if you play early, you get all the goodies first.
yeah.
And,
Sure.
like bragging rights.
Hey,
So he's just
we
been
love that.
obsessed with it.
Listen, PopCon is just it's a whole convention about people who completely understand that. Like, yeah, I want to get my game early.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you both being here with me this weekend, and we appreciate you listening. Of course, all of the usual, rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends. I don't think we've had a review since 2020, so if you could give us a review, that'd be great.
We have no reviews.
We have no reviews. I don't think
We haven't
people.
reviewed our own show.
You've never even reviewed our show, Katie.
Have I left a review?
No, you have not. No. People don't understand. I think it's just gotten to where you hear it so much. You're like, yeah, whatever, rate, review, and subscribe. Literally, that's the only way that Apple and Spotify will put our podcast in front of other people is if it gets ratings, if it gets reviews, and if it gets subscribes. So it's even if you don't do it for us, if there's a podcast that you really like or your friend has a podcast, rate, review, and subscribe. You'll make them so happy. Thank you so much. Follow us on the social medias. Easiest way to find us is actually if you go to kjonsocial.com. It'll connect you to everything we do. The KJ Today Show, the Kinda Nerdy Girls, all of our socials. There's a special 10% off code that you can get to shop at Conquest Journals. And we thank them for all the cool stuff that they have given us to make our booth so cool at PopCon Louisville. This has been the Kinda Nerdy Girls. Thank you.
Poo poo, pa chow, chow.
Poo poo choo, bow bow. Thank you. Good night.